George Russell put in a fantastic performance at the Singapore Grand Prix to claim Mercedes a second race win of the season. It was also his second podium in a row after his impressive second-place finish in Baku. While Mercedes have found some performance over the last few races, Russell hasn't ever been in the conversation for the Drivers' Championship this season. Mercedes' ground effect era struggles have continued throughout the year, and now they're having driver problems as well. Russell's impressive performances have not been enough to convince Toto Wolff that the British driver is the future of the team, and the long-term contract extension that George wants is still not forthcoming. Russell reckons he's ready to be a championship contender, but does Wolff agree? Or is the Austrian team owner still looking to sign Verstappen when Red Bull drops the ball next season? Today I'll check it all out, so don't go anywhere. George Russell's second win of the season, following success in Canada in June, came on the same track on which he'd crashed out of third place on the final lap while chasing a victory in 2023. That crash was a tough moment for George, but 2 years on, he's definitely grown as a driver. This year, he finished ahead of Red Bull's Max Verstappen, with McLaren's Lando Norris third and championship leader Oscar Piastri fourth. It was a reverse of the order of the top of the Drivers' Championship at the moment, but while there is an argument to make that Verstappen is still in the championship battle, Russell certainly is not. However, he has grown as a driver this year, and George now reckons he is ready to be a championship-winning driver. "I'm a very different driver today to the one I was a couple of years ago, and I feel more complete, more confident," Russell said. "I know exactly what I need to do in given circumstances. Of course, I was nervous before the race, as you'd expect, but I didn't feel any additional nerves or any additional pressure. It just felt like another race, and I knew I had a chance to win, and I felt comfortable with that. So I've said it for a while, I feel ready to fight for a championship. I feel ready to take it to my next step." Russell put his improvement this year down to experience, just knowing how to maximize every situation. He added, "Probably a couple of years ago I was driving a bit more tense and probably over-pushing in circumstances when I shouldn't have been. Now I just feel much more relaxed. Going into today, I was relaxed. When it was raining an hour before the race, I just said, you know, it is what it is. It's the same for everybody. There's nothing I can do, so there's no point stressing about it. Myself a few years ago would have been slightly different." Russell said he believes Singapore had been probably my most dominant weekend, but hesitated to categorize it as his best win, saying last year's victory in Las Vegas was better. He also said that winning in Singapore had been so unexpected. Mercedes had had a difficult run of races, and their second place in the Constructors' Championship was coming under threat, but in the last two races they had finished second and fourth, and then first and fifth. He said, "We need to sit down tomorrow and Tuesday to sort of understand why the performance was so good." Russell won pole position by 0.182 seconds over Verstappen, although the Dutchman felt he would have been in contention to beat this time if he had not run into dirty air from Lando Norris's McLaren on his final lap and slid wide at the final chicane. Russell's drive to victory was helped by Verstappen's choice to run soft tyres at the start of the race. Once Russell kept the lead at the first corner, it meant Verstappen lacked the pace to challenge him. And he held back Norris's McLaren, which looked to have the pace to challenge Russell for the rest of the race. Russell's win over Verstappen couldn't have been better timed. While the two were battling on track in Singapore, there also seems to be a battle going on off track for a Mercedes seat. Russell is basically having to battle against the chance of Verstappen choosing to join Mercedes at the end of 2026. If he wants a multi-year contract, then he has to prove to Toto Wolff that he can win the team a world championship, because Toto would prefer to give George a one-year contract and take the risk of annoying his driver to give him the option of signing Verstappen. Before I talk about that situation and why it still hasn't resolved itself, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch more news and analysis on Formula 1, then make sure to press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. The Mercedes contract saga has dragged on all season. Toto Wolff's dogged pursuit of Verstappen when Red Bull were at their worst earlier in the year looked like it was going to work. Verstappen refused time and again to confirm he would continue with Red Bull beyond the end of this season. He did eventually commit to his team for another year, but by that point, Wolff had spent months trying to sign him, and in the process, caused problems in his own garage. George Russell is very clearly a talented driver, and if Mercedes were to lose him without someone of a similar quality lined up, it would cause Mercedes problems. Because of Wolff's flirting with Verstappen, former Haas Formula One team principal Gunther Steiner believes George Russell has more leverage over Mercedes in the ongoing contract negotiations for a 2026 seat. While at this stage it looks as though the contract is a formality, with both Russell and team chief Toto Wolff remaining confident that they will reach an agreement shortly, Steiner has pinpointed what he believes could be the sticking point in negotiations. He will get one, talking about a contract. I mean, if he doesn't get it with Mercedes, he gets it somewhere else. But obviously, George knows what he's worth, and I would say he doesn't want Mercedes' terms. He wants to do the best for him, Steiner explained on the Red Flags podcast. Everybody was scared last year. Oh, Lewis is leaving. Do you think George can take the lead of the team? No shit. He did pretty good, and now he's waiting for a contract. So I think he just tries to negotiate the best terms for him, and I guess he wants more than a one-year contract. This conversation about the one-year contract is so important to Mercedes' future. If Mercedes can get Russell onto a one-year contract, then they will have a spot open for Verstappen. If they can't, then Antonelli may have to go to a one-year contract in case Verstappen does want to move to the team. In that case, they might risk losing Antonelli to a rival. Despite a shaky first season, in which Wolff has been critical at times of the Italian's performances, he is still seen as the future of Mercedes. To add to the complexity of the situation, Mercedes and George are very lacking in options elsewhere. When asked how much leverage Russell has in the negotiations with the lack of other available seats for 2026, Steiner added, "But think about it, Mercedes is even in a tougher place. Who would they put in there if he doesn't sign a one-year contract? And that is his leverage, because Mercedes would be, who they put in there. I mean, there is nobody available because Mercedes needs to fight for world championships. It's not like a midfield team where you take whatever the best you can get for the money you've got. Mercedes, if they're participating in F1, they want to win the world championship. They're not here to participate, they're here to win. So who else is there than George? It is such a hard situation for Mercedes. George wants to stay at the team, but he wants the team to commit to him as well. If they don't, and he does refuse to sign a one-year deal, then there are options at Red Bull or Alpine for him. Obviously, neither are a good option, but he could take a seat for a season and then look for something better in 2027. Mercedes don't have that same option. Their choices for a driver for next season if George needs replacing are not exciting. Yuki Tsunoda is likely available. They could call on Mick Schumacher's services as well, but past those two, the options get progressively worse. It is better for both parties if they carry on together, but what that continued partnership looks like is very much up to George Russell. After the race in Singapore, Wolff said, "Contract-wise, good things take a while. It's about the detail, and it's not about the big topics." Toto took a risk going as hard for Verstappen as he did, and it seems that now, George is going to make him pay. Do you think Russell is championship material? And what do you think his new contract will look like? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.